All right, we are live. Welcome everyone to another edition of Deconversion Stories. And we were kind of panicking at the last minute there because I thought Jeff was not going to be he wasn't going to show up for this. But he got here just in the nick of time. Well, we're a few minutes late, but no big deal. I'm always usually fashionably late anyways, or late like a rock star anyways, like they say. So Jeff, I talked to people about their journeys away from whatever belief systems they were once a part of. And basically I say, go back as far as you can remember being involved with whatever belief system it was, and the little dominoes that fell started making you question things and leading you out of it into becoming an atheist and to becoming the atheist activist that you are today.
Sure. Well, so my family was Catholic, so I always grew up around the Catholic Church, in the Catholic Church. My grandparents were first-generation immigrants from Czechoslovakia, and they were Catholic, and they came from a Catholic country. And my dad's family was Belgium, all from Belgium, and they are also Catholic. So when I went to any type of family thing, like Christmas, or Christmas was big because I didn't live near my grandparents. It was a travel thing, so every Christmas we would spend a week up in Illinois. My family lived up there, and the entire time we were there, every event was centered around the Catholic Church in that small town, very small town, like 3,200 people.
Sorry, I hit the wrong button.
Oh, okay. So a small town of like 3,200 people, and the central community was the Catholic Church. And I think not necessarily directly, but definitely indirectly, that added some sort of legitimacy to the belief system. Okay. It had nothing to do with the Bible at this point. I don't know, I don't know Adam from Eve. I don't know any of that stuff. But I know as a 5 or 6 year old kid that this is very important to my grandparents, and it's very important to my parents. That's about the knowledge I have.
Right.
So as I grow up in Catholic, you go through confirmation classes before they'll let you be a real, Catholic. You got to go through the checklist. And so you start going to these classes and learning stuff. And I just kind of accepted authority. If it was a person of authority telling me something, why would I,
why would you question? Exactly.
Yeah, why would I question that? So that's kind of where my brain went. If it was a Noah's Ark claim, and I believed it when I was 6 years old, I never questioned it past that point. So it's not that I believed the Noah's Ark story as an adult, it's that I didn't allow myself to think about it as an adult. And I can remember times when I was, there used to be I'm just probably still around, but there's a website called Stumble Upon. And literally you just click a button and it takes you to a different link. And I remember clicking that button and it going to a link, which I wish I could find now, but and it had this great big graph, and it showed the history of the Bible and who wrote what and when it was written and who modified this and all this stuff. And the second that I realized that it was a secular source, turn that shit off. Like, get that off my screen. Don't look at it. Don't read about it. Erase it from your memory. And that's kind of how I think a lot of average theists review some of that stuff. It's like, well, I don't want to look at that. I can't see that. Or, if it doesn't agree with my understanding, I'm not going to allow myself to question it. Right. And that's kind of how I lived my youth, was not questioning those things, knowing that it was important to my parents. And then most of my friends, my close friends, came from church rather than school. So, and that sounds good, but we weren't exactly the best people out there. But, but the people that I got involved with mischief with happened to be, my friends from church. And honestly, that's the people that I still keep today. A lot of my main friends that I made at that time period in my life are still around. And I don't know, except for one of them, that's even still involved with the Catholic Church in any regard other than just appearance.
Right.
So I can't say that we had a common bond when it came to that belief system, and we all found our ways to different truths after that. But it was really from 20 to 27, I don't think I really ever, I went to church on Sundays. I listened to what they said for an hour, and that was about all I thought I gave to it, I didn't think about it on a day-to-day basis. I didn't read the Bible. I didn't read the books.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know.
Wait, no.
Uh-uh.
Huh?
Yeah.
She ain't talking about me, pal.
Yeah, it didn't have anything to do necessarily with my day-to-day. And I think that also as a theist, you build your own theological viewpoint of what you think God is and what that means to you and what makes sense. And you justify things in your mind. So
what did you think God was back in the day?
I mean, I would think that God was the stereotypical, conservative right God. So I grew up in a conservative state. I grew up in Georgia.
Okay.
So I was a little conservative, read, by nature of what's around me before I knew politics and before I knew any of that stuff. So I believe what I was told about God in church. I believe what I was told about the Bible in church. And I also went to a non-denominational Christian high school. And so there I got a lot more exposure. And that is kind of where the first part of that study comes involved. So, you start, when you go to a non-denominational high school, you take Bible study. That's part of it. I got to see science classes that had videos from Ken Ham distributed to students.
Great.
Yeah, I know. Fantastic. So I didn't know that. I didn't make up an opinion on whether or not the Earth was 6,000 years old, but this information was given to me as a teenager that, the Earth is 6,000 years old, and the young Earth creationist Ken Ham was able to get information into that institution. So some of that didn't jive. And the way I rectify that was just to say, that's, who are we to know what actually happened? Who are we to know all these processes that are at play? Basically, it boils down to magic, I guess, is the best explanation of how I would justify it. Like, God can do what he wants. We don't know. So how can anybody say that this isn't true? And this is also, from a young age too, I've also always been a huge, I'm always interested in science. So when I was younger, I always wanted to be an astronaut.
Wait, even then?
Even then, absolutely. I always was big. I can remember begging to go to space camp, as a kid. I wanted to go to space camp. Yeah, I wanted to go to space camp.
What did you do when science contradicted what you'd been learning in the Bible?
Doesn't matter. It's not important. These are two different boxes, right? You have your religious box and your science box, and you just don't ever put those together. You keep them far apart.
They should be doing that with the government too. But
yes, absolutely. Build that wall. But the idea is a specific instance was as I got older. Well, now I lost my train of thought. What was I saying?
Sorry. You were saying you were into the science.
Science, yes. When I got older and I went to college for video production because that's what I thought I wanted to do. I hate it. I'm not going to do it. I really wanted a science degree. And the reason I didn't get a science degree had nothing to do with this, but it had to do with dyslexia and math. And so I would take classes I took AP Anatomy and Physiology in high school and did wonderful in those aspects of anatomy and physiology. But when it came to the biology side of it or the chemistry side of it, I suck because I didn't know it. But I mean, I didn't even know
with the chemistry.
Well, it's weird because it's not that the concepts elude me. And I think that's the problem for most people is that the concepts are just too big to grasp. I grasp the concept, but I can't copy numbers from one page to another. So if we go from a formula to a piece of paper to my calculator and back to the piece of paper, the numbers are screwed.
Okay.
And that's my problem. And I would get extremely frustrated because I'd be like, I know the formula. I'm putting the numbers into the formula and I'm getting a ridiculous answer on the other side. So screw this. I'm out. I can't handle this. So I had convinced myself because I'm not good at math, I could never get a degree in science. That's kind of, what I was told, by the education system. It's
necessary.
Yeah, it's necessary. Now, if I had just changed the way that I understood how my brain worked, and understood how I need to slow down when entering numbers and double check to make sure I put the decimal in the right place, that I have a 2 instead of a 5, those kinds of things, I would do better. So as an adult, I moved to Denver, and I started going to school there for environmental science, atmospheric studies, all this other stuff, and geology and, things. So when I started studying climate science, I had to start rectifying certain things and understanding how to read peer-reviewed scientific publications, how the scientific study of atmosphere works, how do we know what we know about the composition of the atmosphere, all of these things, pretty deep understanding of how those things work. And mainly because I wanted to argue with people online, tell them they were wrong, and be able to tell them they were wrong because I had some authority in it,
Sure.
And that's kind of when I started blending these two environments. And it came to a head with the Bill Nye Ken Ham debate back in 2014. So those two debates, I love Bill Nye. Huge Bill Nye fan. I've always loved watching, because again, my generation grew up watching Bill Nye in the classroom.
Bill.
Exactly.
Bill. Yeah.
So I love watching Bill Nye, and watching him debate Ken Ham was the first time that I allowed myself to question something written in the Bible. And I started realizing that I don't know anything about this faith tradition other than that my parents told me that it's important, So that's kind of where my journey went, starting to now, okay, well, what about this biblical flood? How do we know the earth is this old? Like, why were these things that I were told in high school, like, these are completely wrong? So now if these were wrong, what else don't I know about the Bible? And then it's like, well, I've never really studied the Bible. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me actually study the Bible, read the stuff. Let me get into this and figure out who wrote this, like all this stuff.
Yeah.
So then I start reading, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, none of this shit's real, and then I start learning, I remember watching a couple documentaries about Horus, the Egyptian god. And I'm like, the Jesus story is not unique.
No. Now, hang on. The Horus one is bullshit, dude. That's from Zeitgeist. Or Zeitgeist or whatever the fuck it's called.
Yeah, I know it's not real.
Okay.
But
I wasn't sure. You're kind of...
Yeah, no. There are other stories that are just as valid with the same level, if not more evidence than the Jesus Christ story that I don't accept as true.
Well, there are other deities and shit like that. Right? So,
So how can I say that mine's right and theirs is wrong?
Right.
That's basically what I got to. And then there's can I accept that I'm an atheist? Is this really what I want to accept? So I think we all go through the agnostic, atheism phase where we remove the verbiage. We don't want to say it. And then I also spoke with my brother. My brother actually came out as an atheist before me. He's 5 years younger than me. And
wow.
That was actually a pretty big moment. And I don't know his story at all, honestly, when it comes to...
he never spoke to you about it? How
no, we never really talked about it. I came back from Denver.
Send him my way.
Maybe I'll let you. I come back from Denver in 2015, so just after that debate. And I remember sitting at Ted's Montana Grill, sitting there and having dinner with my mom and dad. And my mom said basically like, hey, your brother, he doesn't believe in God.
Your mom said this?
My mom said this. And I said, I don't know if I do. I'm not so sure I do. So that's kind of the first time I admitted to somebody that that's how it was. And, her reaction wasn't, she wasn't stoked, but it's not like she was like, get the hell out. I'm not giving you a ride home. Like, any of that.
She's still your mom kind of thing.
Still my mom. Yeah. And even to this day, she loves to argue with me about it. So I think that's where I get my argumentative side from. But she's the same way I was. She doesn't know. She doesn't read the Bible. She doesn't, she has a really, and I'll ask her
to do that.
Oh, absolutely. She doesn't care, because I can quote Bible verses, better now than I ever could back in my theist days. And so she doesn't want to care about the Bible. She has a very weird, warped view on reality. Oh, yeah. She has a very warped view on reality of what her religion even stands for. She doesn't care. She makes it up. And then you make up what you want to hear or what you want to believe, and then you reinforce it by just continually telling yourself that it's true.
Yeah.
Same with my dad. They don't know.
Cognitive dissonance shit, right? So,
yeah, it is. It's active cognitive dissonance.
Yeah. Oh, someone's yelling at you or something right now?
No. I was just listening.
Oh, something going on in the background.
I was just making sure there wasn't anything going on in it that you.
I see. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. Gotcha. You're fine. So let's see. So where are we? Move back from Denver. Tell them. And then I start reading like Seth Andrews books.
Oh yeah.
Seth
Which
Andrews.
One did you read first?
Is it Deconverted? Is that one of his?
Yeah.
And I think in that book, there was a specific chapter where he talked about atheism and how we do not do a good job of assimilating because we are basically disenfranchised from another organization and you're not looking to get back into another one. And the reason that that's bad is that we don't do a good job of representing ourselves, that we're allowing larger super PACs or Christian, organizations to pay money to get their results to the top of Google or make sure that they're getting their way when it comes to new laws and things like that. And atheists sit by idly and say, well, you know what? I'm an atheist, but I don't really need to talk about it. I don't give a shit about religion. Like, it's not important to me. Mm-hmm. And the other point he made was that atheism has been branded by theists to be a bad word. So, it's very hard if I were to run for the U.S. Senate to be elected as an atheist. Mm-hmm. It would be very difficult because it has this bad connotation. And I think it's just another way to keep us quiet and out of the way, because a theist has no problem with an atheist as long as they shut up and stay out of their church and don't tell them they're wrong. And, you can go out and spout out whatever you want when it comes to a positive belief system. But if you just say, I don't believe that, then get out of the way. So we do need to somewhat come together to be able to say we are not a silent majority. Like, we're here and we're not happy with what you're doing. So that was when I took the atheist moniker and said, okay, that is a definition that, I don't care for the label, but it is who I am. Like, it meets the definition.
No problem with it. But
then it comes to
what I am.
Well, if I'm reading, then I start reading deeper literature like Bart Ehrman and other schoolery documents from received biblical scholars. Even Christian biblical scholars don't help the case. They make it worse. When you study early Christianity, because I became fascinated with, if Christianity is false, how did it take off? And the processes in place that happened to make that work is just insane. Like, it's insane how many different ideas they had in the first 100 years. Then you look at the first 300 years, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. Like,
they have no idea.
They have no idea.
Never made it into the Bible. Right. How many were removed and then some put in?
How many were burned?
Yeah. How many? Revelations was apparently blasphemous at one time until they added it to the Bible.
So the Bible that I have here today is only like 500 years old at most. Mm-hmm. But people act like, and at least this was my thought as then I started examining some of my beliefs as my youth. But when I was 6 or 7 or 10 years old, I just thought that once Jesus died, the Bible was there. Like, that was it. Day 2, there's the Bible. You know what I mean? Like, there it is. That's how it came to be. I didn't realize how much human involvement was there, how much manipulation, how many people got their 2 cents to put what they wanted in the book or take out or burn certain chapters or tell me I can't listen or read certain books, Catholic Church. Was it Enoch you're not supposed to read or whatever? Yeah. So then you start reading about some of the ones that didn't make it in, like the Gospel of Judas, Yeah. So all of this information, which the more I've gathered, has exponentially moved me further away from being a positive theist, to a neutral standpoint. And now, actually, even on Christianity, I would say I am 99% sure that Christianity is not a true belief system. Like, it's not true. I can't say to a reasonable amount of knowledge on whether or not there is a God. Like I couldn't say that I'm more than maybe, I'm at 50% on that. I'm right in the middle. I can definitely make a positive claim that Christianity is not true.
Yeah.
And my primary evidence is this.
Yeah. Which version is that one? Skeptics something or other?
Oh yeah, this is a second edition of the Skeptics Annotated Bible. I would highly recommend picking one up. The author, and this one's actually a signed copy because I paid for it way before it came out. But nice. I gave a paperback to Atheist Jesus recently. But the nice thing about it is when you go to, just like how Christians have their study Bibles, this has in the markings here on the side, it'll actually mark out anything that is absurdities, injustice, cruelties, intolerance, good stuff, contradictions, interpretations, misogamy, sex, prophecy, language, politics, or homosexuality is all outlined in bold. And also outlines things that weren't in the original manuscripts because, there's a lot of stuff that was added after the fact.
Yep.
So that's kind of, where I got my baseline atheism. Then we go back to December of last year. Oh, and TikTok comes into play. Yeah, recent. So I've been reading on my own because I do find religion fascinating, especially cults. And, so things like the Christ-Divinians or Mormonism or LDS, Scientology, like those things it's fascinating to me why people believe these like ludicrous things. I like the NIV, actually.
Real Bible.
I like the NIV.
None of them are real. I hate to break it to you.
The reason I like the NIV. I
figured that out twice baked. It's a joke.
I like the NIV mainly because it gives me the best ammo in translation. It doesn't change the word slavery to servitude. It says slavery. So it's easier for me to be like, read this verse in NIV, and you can't weasel your way out of it, and justify slavery for 20 minutes or whatever. So
well, people try to, too.
They do.
It blows me away.
Unsuccessfully, but or the sexism, the sexism that's rampant in there is also, the misogyny is pretty rough. And I didn't know about this. I mean, it's not like you go to church and they read 1 Timothy 2 and start telling women that they're inferior, that their purpose is to make children, and if they have questions, they should ask their husbands. They'd get laughed out of there, like any preacher. Well, any non-cultish preacher, mainstream preacher that says that kind of stuff would lose followers in today's day. So, and I think that you're going to see, and this is me going on record and saying, the translations of the Bible that we are going to see in the future, in the next 20 years or so, are going to change homosexuality as from being a sin like it is today to being a sin like mixing fabrics.
Right.
Because
let's hope that that's what happens.
Yeah, because I don't think that the modern Christian church can rectify that. I've had too many people reach out to me to say, I have a best friend that's gay, and I can't handle how my church treats and talks about that person because I know them personally, and the stuff I hear about homosexuals in churches is absolutely false. And that's what led them away from the church. And I think it's happening for a lot of our youth. A lot of our youth is somewhat in a new civil rights movement. They are all about Black Lives Matter, all about gay rights and LGBTQ equality. And I say more power to you. But they got to drop the religious element and able to progress those doctrines, or to not progress the doctrines which got us there in the first place.
Right. Yeah.
So
we just have to wait till the time comes when people like that are actually the ones that are in positions of power to actually do something about it.
Right. And I definitely see. I mean, you see how the youth is able to affect things now, even the non-voting youth, and I'm going to call this ethical trolling. So there has been several cases of ethical trolling, and in which the youth, which is very young, under 18, has trolled Westboro Baptist Church's web pages, has trolled certain political authorities' web pages, has struck the stores of those places with abandoning hearts, or all kinds of other things that you can do. So they are very active, and they're not afraid to talk about it. And I think at least my parents' generation was told by my grandparents' generation that you don't talk about religion and politics. And that led to a generation of mainly millennials that do not know how to talk about religion and politics, and try to avoid being offensive and all this other stuff. But we need to be able to have an adult conversation, a reasonable conversation about religion and politics. We should be able to do that without, wanting to kill each other. Mm-hmm. So that's my observation. Is I was always told by my parents, you don't talk about religion and politics.
Why? I always ask why.
Because you're not supposed to. Stop asking questions.
But why though?
Stop it.
Right? Like,
here's a typical.
You're going to say something that you don't like, or
here's a typical conversation. So I'll be at the dinner table with my parents. You don't have a defense. I'm at the dinner table with my parents. On a Thursday night or something. Go over there and have dinner, and my mom will say something. Well, all these Democrats want to make abortion illegal for everybody and kill all these babies, and I'm like, yeah, but don't talk to me about it. So they can give their side of the argument, right. But if I start to come back, then it's like you're not supposed to talk about religion and politics at the table.
Then why'd you start?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And so I just because I guess they just expect you to be submissive to their will. It's an authoritative thing. Why is Pasta trying to call me? Does he not know where I'm at?
I don't know. But I'm hearing like weird shit going on here. Oh, it sounds like somebody's sprinkler system outside's on the fritz.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, it's weird. I'm like, is that crickets? What the fuck is going on? But no, yeah. It sounds like somebody's got the sprinkler going, and it's not working properly.
Speaking of Pasta, so in December of last year, I finally got a TikTok account. And because in my spare time, I was like watching videos on Facebook, and there were ads for TikTok like every 4 videos. So I'm like, what the hell is this app anyway? So download it, and I realized for whatever reason, the first thing I get is just massive amounts of Christian content. And
really?
Like instantly. And so I'm like, what is? And it was the TikTok apologetics, the like ludicrous arguments. And I'm like, this is so much me when in my youth. This is so much me when I was like that. So my username originally was I'm just here trolling. And that's all I did. I would just troll people's lives. And, then I saw the religious content. So I'm like, all right, maybe I'll refute some of these arguments. So I would, make text that talked about different Bible verses, or a Christopher Hitchens clip, or something like that, or maybe a Ricky Gervais clip. And it inspired controversy, and controversy leads to views and comments and engagement with people, until Pasta comes along and sends me a message that he likes my videos, and the rest is history when it comes to T.A.R.T. But for the longest time, I never revealed my face or anything like that on there. I would do lives into the cover of darkness, and until I got a couple thousand people following me, until the first account got banned ultimately. But that was kind of how Pasta had Oz and me, and he saw the bigger picture, and that activism side of me when it came to sharing what I learned and telling other people. Like, I don't tell other people like, hey, don't believe in your God, that's bullshit. Like, I'm not, even though my name's the Atheist Troll, it's not how I come out. I don't start screaming, like, oh, there is no God, like, it's a fairy tale or whatever. I encourage them to read their book. I encourage them
Scrubs,
to
right?
do it. What's that?
You weren't on Scrubs, were you?
No. Did someone say that?
Yeah, PJ.
I've heard that before. I forget the dude on Scrubs, but yeah, I never watched Scrubs, but yeah, I've heard.
Yeah, me either.
I get that. Someone called me Tosh.0 the other day. I don't think that I'm a Tosh guy, but
no.
There's Pasta. Stop calling me. But Pasta definitely got the group together, and I found a way to, just like Christian folk always claim that they're trying to save us from hell, I think I'm really just trying to save them from themselves.
Yeah.
And I want them to read their book. And I got no problem with people that are staunch Christians and Christian pastors or anything like that. People that know their book, that got doctorates, in it, that spent that much time to understand their book. It is the most important thing that you could ever, as a theist, do, is to understand the Bible. Why would you want to join a religion and not understand it and not be 100% sure that it's true? It doesn't make sense to me.
Agree.
So, and the only way to get some people to talk is to kind of force them into it in a way which I consider trolling, ethically trolling.
Ethically trolling?
Is there ethically ethically hacking?
I don't know, man. You're walking a fine line with this sort of thing, I think.
Ethically hacking is a real thing.
I understand.
And I think ethically trolling
at its foundation, is hacking at all ethical?
Yes.
How?
How is it not? I'm just joking.
You're basically
So if exploring, so for example, let's say that you work for a company that's a big IT developer, and I can hack your servers in order to show you the flaws in your security. And then I show you those flaws and help you fix it. That is ethically hacking.
okay.
I am breaking down your security and I am showing you the flaws in your security system and then giving you the resources to fix it.
Okay. I could go on with that.
In the same way, I am...
Well, hold on. Did they ask you to do that? Or is this just something you did to help them without their knowledge?
I think even without their knowledge of you doing this, if you don't take that information and exploit it, like, hey, give me $1 million, I'm going to expose these flaws in your security system. that would be unethical. But sure. there are times I can for example, there was a 15-year-old kid that hacked Microsoft's Azure cloud servers at one point. And I don't remember if it's exactly the Azure cloud servers, but I'm going to say that the point is that he hacked a Microsoft product and then told Microsoft via Twitter that they have a problem and to reach out to him. And then he gave all the information that he found to them. Mm-hmm. Microsoft turned around and said, "You want a job?" So I think that is ethically hacking. Now, if I were to go to Sony and say, hey, I have all your user data, and if you don't give me X whatever, I'm going to use this against you, that's unethical hacking. It's exploiting. Yeah. So in the same way, when it comes to someone's belief, let's say the belief is your security system. And I'm going to say, look, your security system is flawed. It's wrecked. It's got all these issues, and here's what you need to know about that to fix it. In my way, that's the same thing. However, some people are not going to naturally have that conversation with you because that's just not how they act. That's not how they respond. Sometimes they need different shows. Sometimes they need the, empathetic atheism, or they need the, other forms of atheism out there. That's not me. I'm here to reach a specific clientele, so to speak, of people that had the same mentality that I had back then. And the only way that I can get their attention is by having sort of ad absurdum arguments. And it works. Yeah. And it works. Yeah. And so, I mean, to get the people that watch my shows, or the people that interact with me, typically have a very high level understanding of the Bible or other things. And what?
I don't have my beer here.
Oh,
hold on. I'm going to listen. These are Bluetooth. So,
okay. This is now the Jeff show.
No, you'll be able to see me. No problem. I'm here. I'm still here.
So
out here and grab a and here. See, hi.
This is now my show.
Grab a beer. Grabbing a beer. Coming back now. Well, that's a fucking first. Right there.
For getting a beer?
No, for having to run out of here to grab one.
Oh, okay. Well, you need a mini fridge in there.
Right? Well, I used to have a little cooler, like my little thing with me, but I didn't fill it up because I was like, guess I'm not going to need it. And then all of a sudden you were here.
So what were we talking about? Ethically trolling?
Yeah.
Arguments. So when I ask someone, like, if I criticize Islam, for example.
Wait, is that you in the chat now?
Back here? Oh, yeah, that's me.
Atheist Troll Live?
Yeah, that's me. So if I criticize Islam, do I want somebody with a 5th grade understanding of Islam to refute my claims? No. I'm not going to learn anything. I want somebody who's got a really good understanding of it, because that's going to give me the best argument, and that's going to be the best chance to prove me wrong. And in reality, I'm just looking for truth. And if you can provide it to me, then why wouldn't I accept it? So with the, kind of trolly feel to it, I can get people to engage with me. And when they engage with me, that's when I let that off. And I take my foot off the accelerator pedal and I ask questions, much like an epistemological approach of how do you understand this? How do you know this? Like, help me get to where you are. That's where the epistemology starts, is after I get the conversation. But the person I'm trying to get into that conversation is a different clientele than the ones that appear on our shows, than the ones that make TikToks, than the ones that actually engage. I'm getting the people to engage that don't want to engage.
Right.
And that's kind of what I'm after.
Thanks,
I would have never engaged. I would have never, as a theist, ever watched your show or watched my show or watched a Christian or atheist show. It wasn't something that I did.
Right. Sure.
But if someone called me out and pissed me off, I might engage.
Apparently, Steve thinks you should just start taking calls when I leave to go grab another beer.
Yes, I could. But that's later. I am doing a live show later on Twitch for the first time ever on Twitch.
Really?
I've never done Twitch. I usually do YouTube.
What about the after party?
Well, I can take phone calls on the after party if you want. I don't do that show till like 10 o'clock.
Oh,
Eastern.
okay.
So.
Right. But that's in like an hour, isn't it?
No, it's in like 2 hours.
2 hours, sorry. What
Yeah.
am I? Oh, okay. I misread my own fucking clock.
Yeah.
So
So I'm going to do, I'll do that on Twitch, and I've never done it on Twitch before. So that's new to me. But I think that Twitch will allow me to get less shadow banned, and also give the I'm on my 4th account, when it comes to TikTok at this point. So
really,
oh yeah, and there was a bit of a incursion earlier this year, I would say, based on a video I made. It went viral in Indonesia, and I got a lot of hate for that, I guess. And
Really?
Oh yeah, like, so, and all I did was take a Quran, which this is the one, and I set it on a table, just like that, and I said, I'm going to burn this in tomorrow. And
right.
Yeah, I don't know why people would be upset. And I wasn't planning on burning the book at all. It's still here. It didn't get burned. But apparently they thought that if they could get my account banned, then that would stop me from being able to burn the book. Which it won't. But regardless, all they did was share my video over and over and over and over. And kind of like a bad politician who says something stupid, you're giving me free press.
Yeah.
So...
Yep.
I mean, that video got like 1.5 million views, which is insane. But 93% of them came from Indonesia.
Really? Oh, yeah. That's not surprising.
And this was the first time that I had ever got a whole lot of response from Muslims, because I don't know a whole lot about Islam at the time. I had bought the Quran to read it. And people were telling me in my comments that if this is what they told me. They told me if I did anything to this book, I would instantly turn into a rat.
Are you kidding me?
I was told that I would drop dead instantly if I ripped a page out of it.
Yeah.
People were giving me anecdotal stories that, they heard that, this person ripped the book and then they were turned into an animal. All this like ludicrous stuff. So I was like, you know what? Let's put these to the test. Let's put your claims to the test. and see if they're true. And I put all those claims to the test, and none of them were true. I didn't get killed in a car accident. I haven't been turned to a rat. I didn't drop dead immediately. Like, none of that. And then I was getting messages from ex-Muslims that live in countries where they can't talk about this stuff,
Right.
where they can't rip a Quran, because if they do, they'd be, arrested or executed. Yeah, like this insane stuff. So I get messages from these people that are like, hey, I live in, X country. I can't talk about this a whole lot, but I really appreciate what you're doing. Like, I wish I could do that. I like your freedom and that kind of stuff. And then I would engage with them and be like, teach me about Islam. Like, why is it that you don't agree with it? What, all this other stuff. And it's so similar to Christianity or any other religion. It's not
Sure.
unique. I had a better, more favorable opinion of Islam before I studied it. And reading the Quran, which is like reading a old English Bible, like, it's really difficult English to understand what the heck they're talking about in the book. But
losing something in the translation too.
They need a better.
I've read some of it, but not too much.
They need a better English translation. The English, and the thing is, they don't allow, like, an English translation isn't a real Quran. It has to be Arabic. And so really my biggest problem with Islam, besides the claims, is why would an all-knowing, all-powerful God that can do anything create a book, which is the dumbest way to share a message.
Yep.
Of his
in
intent.
a language that nobody's going to be using.
That nobody's going to read. Yeah, like, where's the forward thinking on that? And then it's funny because they'll say, well, what did you want him to do? And it's like, listen, I'm a human being, and I can think of 1,000 better ways to communicate a message to somebody. And your God is somehow limited by the understanding of the people at that time.
Right. You could have got an airplane with that sign that follows. Oh, wait. No, maybe not 2,000 years ago.
You could. I mean, why couldn't he have thought of that? Why couldn't he have put in existence?
Could have invented TV back then. And then we get commercials all the time.
Why couldn't he have existed and made a room that has an original copy of every single language that is back in the history and in the future?
Ever be. No matter
will ever be.
Whoever touch the book, it'll be in the language that they read.
They can read it. Yeah.
He's magic. He can do that shit.
He can do anything. And then they'll say, well, you can't, it's a test. And you shouldn't get
off with the test.
Well, the thing is for that, and then this is the free will thing. Be like, because they'll always say, "Oh, well, then that removes that removes free will from the equation." And to me, it's like, well, did Muhammad have free will then? Like, Muhammad was spoken to by God. He knew God existed because God showed up. Does that mean that he didn't have free will? Did he not choose to believe what he was told? And if he can be saved and have salvation, and he was told about God, then why can't I be told? What about Satan? Satan gets to go up to heaven and talk to God. Why does he get special privilege that I don't? By the way, not to sidetrack, but Satan was the only one to offer Jesus water in the desert.
Yep, that's right.
Just a nice guy. I think he's just a nice. He gave us knowledge, which is cool. I just think he's a pretty cool guy.
He was on our side.
Yeah, he was on our side. He liked people. God's like, how dare you go give them the fruit off that tree that I placed right next to him?
Yeah, and told them not to touch it because I'm a dick.
It just doesn't make all these logical. Oh, God is so logical, and he makes the most sense. But he does some of the dumbest stuff in your book. Like, your book is, if this is true, what's written in this book, then your God's an idiot. Like, he's dumb.
He couldn't even beat iron chariots, for fuck's sake.
Well, let me ask you this, Neil.
He didn't even know where they were hiding in the garden.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like,
so, Neil,
omnipresent there, pal.
Name one thing that you would change about your body. Or the human body in general. Let's just say not necessarily your body, but one thing you would change about the human body.
What would I change? Oh, that's actually, I do have an answer for that. I want prehensile tail back. I want to be able to swing through the trees like a fucking spider monkey.
Well, what about like a problem with the human body that you would fix?
A problem with the human body that would fix? Well, first of all, I'd make our eyes so they wouldn't fucking fade away on us.
Perfect. You already made a better body than God.
Yeah, okay. And I still think we should have prehensile tables because, like Nightcrawler from the X-Wing or something, man.
Hey, I'm pretty sure there's somebody out there in Brazil or some other country that'll do that surgery for you.
Yeah, maybe. But I don't want some poor ass monkey to lose his tail, though, just so I can have one.
Yeah, sacrifices.
That's just to trigger one of my old genes or something, so it starts growing back.
Well, gene and not to get off track on gene therapy and all this other stuff, but that is another really fascinating development recently that I think theism is getting in the way of.
Yes, it is.
So I need them to step aside and let us progress as a human race.
Yeah, they've often gotten in the way of scientific progress, though they'll claim that they haven't. They'll claim that, well, back in the day, most of the scientists were believers anyway. Well, yeah, if you weren't a believer, you're either locked up or killed, or it's like, so they had to pretend to be. And how do you know they were, right?
Yeah. Well, if you read their writings or look at their art, you start to see stuff and you start to hear stuff. And it's also a whitewashing of history that current Christians have done to tell us that our founding forefathers were Christian, or tell us that, Einstein was a Christian, or, all this stuff that they just pass around, which is ludicrous.
Yeah. Some great suggestions there. Eat and breathe from different holes could be useful.
That's a bad one.
Not having the entertainment center and the shitter in the same area.
Yeah, that's right. I've heard that one before. I would personally change feet. We have everybody in the world has foot pain, and it's because of how poorly designed our feet are for upright.
They weren't designed. That's just how they evolved. They seem to do the trick, so they never really altered much.
If they were designed for upright walking, it's a terrible design.
I want like 8 feet where it's almost got a thumb too.
Yeah, you did. I mean, you had those at one time.
Well, yeah, sure. We're talking about my great fucking grandpa, maybe.
Yeah.
Go back.
But it's true. Like, why do we have toes? Why do men have nipples? It doesn't make sense.
Well, there is a reason for that, which I'm sure you already know.
Well, is there a biblical reason?
Well, no.
Okay, so then
why did Adam and Eve have fucking belly buttons in all the pictures you see?
That's my question for theists.
Is
why
God
do men have nipples?
Right?
Which God?
Well,
we are made in His image,
right?
Allegedly. So does God have feet?
Well, apparently.
Does He have the same feet?
Have you seen the character they use for God on South Park? Maybe he looks like that.
The platypus thing?
Yeah.
I don't know I forget what that probably is the name of that episode. It's like season 4 or 5.
Yeah, it's something like that.
Yeah, see, I've got South Park trivia.
Did you watch the latest one, the pandemic?
Oh, absolutely. I loved it.
It's Cartman.
I love all of it.
Keeping everyone away from him.
It's all good. I love South Park. And actually, what's really weird is if we go back to my theist days, I would watch South Park. I thought it was fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
But if it was an episode about the Catholic Church or they made fun of a priest, I'd turn that shit off.
Right. That's why Isaac Hayes left, because they were making fun of Scientology.
Yeah. Which is sad, but
yep.
What is Pasta talking crap?
Pasta's always talking crap. Come on.
Yeah, that's true. He's a closet troll.
Apparently Oz has a giant Audi belly button and it's hideous.
I believe
it's like Quato from fucking what's that, Total Recall? Quaid.
That's a good movie. I need to watch that.
Yeah, the original one's better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't care about the new one.
So everyone, when they were making the new one, everyone's like, "What? They're gonna have the girl with the 3 boobs?"
Yeah, like just rip off the whole thing. I guess.
Yeah. Hilarious. So, do you have anything else you want to add to the story? Like, how did? Well, you kind of already said that how you got involved with the whole.
I just
thing,
right. I don't like. I didn't think that I would have anything of value to add, and when I started getting messages from people that were like, "Hey, I really like I didn't think about this, and you made me think about it, and now I'm thinking about this, and I want to do my own research now." That's what I want to inspire. I want to inspire people to. So what would get me back when I was a theist is I would do the research to prove you wrong, right? So you make a claim like, hey, Jesus didn't rise from the dead. I'd be like, you know what? That Neil guy's a dick. I'm going to prove him wrong, and I'm going to make him look so stupid.
No, I am a dick. It's okay.
Yeah, but I'm going to make him look so dumb. And I do so much research on this Jesus stuff until I figured out it's not true. Because you research it enough, you realize that it's just not, it doesn't hold water. So if I can get people to argue with me and say, and I get this quite frequently, I'll say something like, Romans, like, what is it? The story in John 8:7. John 8:7 wasn't originally in the New Testament in English. It was added in the English translation. It wasn't in there before the English translations. When they made the English translations, they added it in there because the story was incomplete. So I'll say that to somebody. They're like, no, you're wrong. You don't know what you're talking about. Go look into it. And they'll say, I'm going to go research it on my own and I'll be back. A day later, they come back and they're like, well, here's what, I found out, this. And I'm like, do you think that that's like acceptable? Like, you said that nothing has ever been changed. Do you think this is a valid example? And they're like, well, yeah, maybe. And, we're starting to pull back that onion and peel back some of the layers and starting to get into stuff. And maybe then they think, well, if I was wrong about the Bible never being modified, what else might I be wrong about? And, then you get follow-up questions like, well, what else? Why are you an atheist? Why don't you believe what the Bible's true? Because, and what they're really asking there is like, hey, help me understand why you believe that, because I might be, going down the same path and I need to understand it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You're just standing there.
Yeah, that's true. Also, we have people making funny comments in the chat.
I'm trying to catch up.
Yeah. I don't know. I think Russ had one he wanted you to see that he did like 40 minutes ago. So
okay.
He's still screaming about it. He's still screaming about it. I guess you were talking about Yahweh or something. And he said this here.
Look, Jeff, you just don't understand Yahweh. He does things for a reason and stuff. Mysterious ways and not. It's true. It's very mysterious.
Yeah. I can't believe I actually went back and to show him that.
I think I'm getting towards now to a much more ad absurdum argument when I get in things with people. So like, what's his name? And unfortunately it goes over some of their heads, but I was watching one of Adam Rich's videos, and he was talking about how there had to be a creator, and atheists don't have a better explanation for how the universe got here. And until we do, we shouldn't really be talking about it. Like the fact that we don't have a better explanation. Mm-hmm. And so I was asking him, and I don't think he got it, but I was asking him about gravity. And I said, how do you know how gravity works? Like, do you know how gravity works? And the answer, at least from a scientific perspective, is we don't know. We know the effects of gravity, but we don't know the mechanism behind why it works.
Well,
but
we know that mass is involved.
Yes.
Right? And yes. mass objects attract each other.
Yes.
Right? We do know that much.
But
what more really is there to know? Like, what do you mean a mechanism? It's just
the
things
reasoning
that have mass are attractive.
Sure. But right? Why? We don't know.
If you think, we have the space-time, which is like a fabric.
Yeah, but so why are things attracted?
Okay, we may not.
We know it does.
Give you a reason why, but if you have a fabric.
Well, I do have a reason why.
And you put a bowling ball on it and a golf ball on it, and you let it go. They're going to come towards each other.
Yeah.
Because they're sitting on the fabric of space-time.
Yeah. But I have a better explanation.
Okay.
It's right here in this book.
Flying spaghetti monster.
So look, this book explains gravity. And I'm going to tell you.
It sucks?
No. The reason behind it, the reason that we're held to the earth is right here. Okay. The flying spaghetti monster has noodle appendages that hold each one of us to the planet. And if you don't have a better explanation, Neil, then you have to accept mine. And until you get a better explanation, this is the truth.
But I do have a better explanation.
Well, I'm giving you an ad absurdum argument.
Okay.
That's my example. So just
All right,
because
fair
somebody doesn't have a better explanation to where the universe came from doesn't mean that you get to just claim that it was God, and we have to
Here's
accept
something
that.
I was going to mention, but hadn't got to yet. But my friend Jen did. Gravity is dependent on the Higgs field, the interactions of Higgs particles in relation to other particle fields. So there you go.
You're missing the point.
No, I get it.
I know. Okay. Just making sure. Needless to say, my joke was lost on his audience.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. I was just told that, like, oh, you're just trolling. You just want to be a troll. Why are you wasting your time trolling my live? That kind of thing.
Isn't that? But that's in your name. I mean, you're the
as advertised
troll, right?
As
exactly.
Advertised.
So,
I have to show up.
And my very good friend Randolph considers himself to be a professional troll as well. He actually got paid for it to do it. Yeah, you can get paid for it.
I'm interested.
You might want to talk to him. He doesn't anymore, but he did at one time. Which I always thought, when he told me that, I was like, you can do that? He's like, oh yeah. Companies will pay you to troll people. Like, holy shit. Okay, interesting. I didn't even know you could. That's crazy.
I'm interested. I'd be good at
it. Maybe he'll pop in the after party. But that's sort of where I was going here. Do you want to just jump right into an after party? I'll take a bit of a break, but
yeah.
I'll send you. So should I eat? Did you get my earlier email? Did it show up in your spam filter?
No, I responded back to you.
You did?
Yeah. You want my phone number? You can put it on the screen.
No, I'm not going to put it on the screen.
I mean, it's public information.
Yeah, so is mine. But wait, what? No, good Lord, I don't even want to get involved there. I didn't know that you responded because I didn't get a response that I saw. Oh, yeah, I do now.
Ooh, it's totally on time too.
Yeah, it was at 4 p.m. on the money.
Yeah, if you send it to me there, then I'll
send you the link through the email for sure.
Cool.
All right.
And I'm going to grab something to eat then, and I'll bring that here, and then we'll do that all together.
Okay. We can do that.
Thanks for having me on, by the way.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
It's a long time overdue. Long time overdue.
Looking one by one, I'm picking you guys off from the T.A.R.T show.
Who's next?
I've had Steve, I've had Oz, I've had you, and Pasta Mike, when he was involved, is still supposed to come on at some point. But he's no longer with you guys. I'm trying to talk, he who shall not be named in the chat. Pasta Mike. Trying to get him on there.
I got his real address, so I can give it to you later, and you can get it.
Good, that I can stalk him. I can firebomb or throw bricks through his window. Like a real badass. Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't do that. But anyways, so yeah, dude, thank you for joining me today.
Yeah.
A lot of fun chatting with you. And we'll have even more fun in the after party. If anyone would like, I'm coming to party. All right, there we go. Confirmation right there. And now everyone's seen it, Pasta, so you can't back out now, pal.
I screenshotted it.
That's right. But anyway, we are going to jump to an after party. I want to thank everyone for hanging out with Jeff and myself. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. If you did, there are ways you can help the show. You can become a patron. You can do a one-time, cash throw at me through PayPal. You can help out by grabbing something off my wish list, although they are starting to disappear because one of my newest fans actually bought 4 of the things off of there for me. 2 are still coming. 2 have already made it. One was a really cool cable, and the other one was the carrying case for my Yeti. And so that's it, guys. And remember, we got a new show coming up. Myself and Randolph are doing our own call-in show, and I do have some good news as well, by the way, other than that. It will be starting up probably within the next couple of months. Don't forget to hit the like button and the subscribe button and go over to the new show, True North Talk, and subscribe to that channel. We're almost at 100, and we want to make 100 before we even go live because that would be badass. But anyway, until next time, guys, with the whole COVID-19 thing going on right now, remember to be well and be safe, and above all, be kind. And like the late, great Christopher Hitchens once said, it's called faith, because it's not knowledge. And we'll see you guys next time.